was driving here, obviously, driving home, and I was just thinking about, number one, I hope everybody had a lovely Halloween yesterday, because it was a lovely Halloween on my side, at least. I know my kids all had a blast. My grandbabies had a blast. It was a little cold out, but it was good. It was good. I don't know. I haven't even looked at pictures. I was just like, after everybody left my house yesterday, I was just going, that is it. I just need some downtime. It's been quite a day. So there might be some pictures coming out. I was dressed up as Superwoman, so who knows? I don't know if anything got actually captured very well. I was not picture focused yesterday at all. I was not caught up on the details of what was going on. I was just really enjoying the moment and everything that was, everybody's just enjoyment. That's what I was enjoying. I was enjoying their enjoyment. That's a lot of enjoys in one sentence. But as I was driving here, I was thinking a little that came up last night, and some emails that have popped in, and text messages that have popped in, because that's just the way my day goes. Is that my phone's going bloop bloop and my email's going bloop bloop, much like everybody else, right? That's how we live. We live by all these little buzzing sounds dictating to us our day and what we're supposed to do in it. And that causes a lot of people anxiety and stress. It also causes us to be less present in our day, less present with our relationships and all that good stuff. And I think I'm gonna sneeze. Yep, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, excuse me. But I was thinking about some of the stuff that kind of came up in conversation, and it was holidays are always interesting for me, because I have the guy that's in my life right now, and then I have my exes, and then the exes all show up, because there's kids involved. So there's two groups of kids, two exes, and I tend to be the hub for everything. So I've got all my kids there, grandbabies there, and men of current and past there. So sometimes people get along, sometimes people don't. For the most part, everything's pretty smooth. But I was realizing that everything was going along really, really groovy yesterday until my ego got in the way. And that's always the story of relationship. And this is where relationship crumbles. Relationship crumbles when our ego steps into place. And what I mean by that, it is the ego of judgment, the ego of criticism, the ego of actually paying attention to the details. I've been looking at some different things. I've got different people going through different things in relationship, whether it is dating or in their marriages and stuff. And a lot of the times, exactly what tears the relationship apart, makes things fall apart, is when we really get focused on those details. I'm the first one to say communicate. Inquiry is so important. It really is. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want people to inquire about our lives. And that is kind of one of those like catch-22 things, because as somebody inquires with us, we also reveal more of our crap. And when we reveal more of our crap, because we're trying to be authentic, we're trying to connect, we want people to know where we came from and who we are, and about those little things, those little quirks and everything. We want to know that they're really able to accept us at that level, that they're not going to run the other direction as soon as they hear about our humanness. Unfortunately, relationship crumbles right here. As we inquire, we also judge each other. We also kind of find ourselves sitting back within ourselves and going, I don't know. They just said that they had 6 relationships and they all ended because of this reason. I don't know. They don't seem very stable because they, tend to change their jobs this much or that much, or I don't know how, whatever, And we go through these kind of things, and it's because we go from a state when we first meet somebody of looking at them as though they're fresh out of catalog, and we're just like, ooh, look at this new pretty thing, and it's so interesting and it's so cool, and I'm really enjoying this feature and that feature, and first meet them. And then we dive in and we do a little bit of inquiry, and our ego rises up, and here comes the judgments and the criticisms and the things of like, I don't know, doubt starts to rise in. And what that is that, number one, our soul isn't really looking at all that stuff. Our soul can look at somebody and can see the light in them no matter what else is going on. Sometimes when we get into judgment and criticism, it is, you know, those flags waving, saying this is not your path, this is not the one, this is not what you want to be venturing down long term. Get what you need in this moment and let that just be. And then other times, and we do this a lot because we're so programmed for challenge, we're so programmed to fix, we're so programmed to suffer and to not have what we want come into our lives, that we venture into a relationship and we go, okay, here you go, this is really cool, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. And we get 2-3 months down the road and we start to have these judgments rise up because a little bit of inquiries happened, or we've spent a little bit of time with the other person and we're just going, I don't like this, I don't like that. And we're making judgment after judgment after judgment. So what we're doing is we're now focused on the other side of the panel here, instead of focusing on the positives of the relationship, focusing on the positives of how we're showing up with each other, focusing on the positives of this other human being. We are now putting our focus onto the negative, and whatever we focus on is what grows, especially in relationship, because people are just going to give us exactly what we're looking for. And if we're looking for these things that we're like, oh, this person does this, then that's what we're going to start realizing more and more. Hence the breakdown, the crumbling of something that can potentially be really good. I know that I personally have seen this happen over and over again in my own life, where I can go out on a date with somebody and I can be like, oh, that person's so great. Now on that first date, if you walk into a first date or a second or third date, you know, I'm kind of like that 3 to 5 date person. I'm going, I'll give somebody 2 dates for sure, and then 3 dates if I'm feeling good towards them, and 5 dates if I'm feeling really great towards them, and then I kind of make a decision from there. And I realize that the judgment is going to come up with the more dates that happen. There's going to be more judgment. There's going to be more analyzing of this person's thinking and feeling and a look on life and how they just live in general. But if it's not lining up in the first 5 dates, I can tell you that it probably will never line up. So just be right with that one right there. If you're got red flags flashing on the first date and the second date, why give the time to it unless you're really dedicated to learning whatever lesson you feel is there, which is totally groovy and fine if that's your cup of tea. Otherwise, you can learn those lessons different ways too. You can go and you can attract in other people. But if you've made it through 5 dates and you are still into this person and you're still kind of coming at them with the rose-tinted glass thought process here, and you're still focused on the positives, realize that if you want to remain focused on the positives, that to keep those rose-tinted glasses on, that you have to actually keep your focus on the positives. If you start to analyze and look at things as to like, oh, they did this, and then you start to worry and have anxiety or bitterness, and you let these negative emotions rise up around something that could be just human. And, you know, I'm eternally late pretty much. I'm getting better, but I'm pretty much known for being late on things. And I know that I drive different people nutso about being late. But I can tell you that I've had people go, oh, I don't want to be around you because you were 3 minutes late. Like, okay, if you're going to let the relationship get ruined over 3 minutes of tardiness, then, you know, we're definitely not in alignment, because that's not the way my life flows. And I believe in flow, not in that constriction and trying to beat the clock. So it's those little things we can focus in on in that instance. Do you believe in flow? Can you get on board with flow, or are you a person that needs that constriction, and that's where your comfort and your happiness comes from, and that's going to really rock world, then that is going to crumble a relationship. Take notice of it right away. It's about being real with yourself. It's about being real in what you need in relationship and what you want in relationship, and then noticing where your judgments are rising up with the other person. You know, last night I had both my children's fathers in the same vicinity in a very short period of time. They actually didn't really cross over. It was interesting. We only had like maybe a minute of crossover time. But each one of the men kind of, they definitely irked me in different ways, I'll just say, rocked my ego. And the noticing of the ego rock is kind of where this conscious coffee came from, because I went, ooh, like I'm making a judgment right now. My ego is completely on fire right now. Why am I wanting so bad? Like, what right now inside of me is so resistant to a happy moment, so resistant to everybody getting along, so resistant to, you know, this joy and the kids being happy and everything just kind of being in flow and smooth? Why am I resisting that and trying to crumble this whole event in my mind first? And then it would have, if I had run with it, it would have crumbled everything. But I noticed in my mind how I started to really hardcore judge and allow those judgments to rise up, and then felt attacked, felt critiqued, felt distance, felt I wouldn't say, I even had a moment of like feeling used last night, which is interesting. Like just this moment of like, you know, like this is just all of this negativity. And what it was a building on of one little tweak, one little judgment that happened relatively early on with my ex, where I just felt myself go, and I didn't catch it in that moment, but looking back, I'm like, oh, that's where that happened. I caught it a couple little pokes later down the road, but you know, the stone had already been set in place. And the crumbling of the internal world, because this is where our relationships crumble. Our relationships crumble. I'm just gonna park in front of a stranger's house and finish this talk with you guys. Relationships really start to crumble in our minds first, and then we look for the evidence of how they're crumbling in all other areas. We look for the evidence of, we tap into, well, this is what this makes me feel, this is what that makes me feel, this person's doing this person's doing that. But what it actually is it's our thinking around the relationship, our critiquing and judgment of the other person, and changing our focus from positive to negative in that relationship. I encourage you today to, no matter what relationship you're in, whether you want to keep it, you want to get rid of it, you're not in a relationship, you want to call in a relationship, you're in a beautiful relationship, you're in a beautiful relationship that needs some work, it doesn't much matter what labeling or what is going on in your relationship with somebody else. And I really want you to focus in on that lover relationship, okay? So your partner, a spouse, a person that you're dating, somebody that you're just enjoying intimately for a little bit, it doesn't much matter there. I want you to look at that relationship, and I want you to ask yourself, where am I crumbling this relationship with the thoughts that I am thinking about the relationship? And how is that crumbling serving the programs, my beliefs that I already have? Because that's what we're doing. We're always supporting the beliefs that we already have. We always support the programs that we have in place. And you know, if we believe that we are forever going to attract this person, or we believe that we are forever going to be single, or we believe that we are not worthy of love or relationship, or we believe that men always are only interested in this or only use us, or we believe that women always act crazy or are manipulative, whatever those core beliefs are, we're going to find the evidence for them because we're focused on the belief subconsciously. And this is one of those processes of make that subconscious belief conscious. Like bring it to the forefront so that you can sweep it out of your psyche and change the people that you're attracting to and change your relationship with relationship. Because as long as you consistently relate to other people, especially those intimate relationships, in the same manner, with the same fears, the same focus, then you are causing the crumble. The best person in the world could come into the picture for you, and you're not going to be able to really, that's a little scary. This guy just like comes up and like drives his truck like right up on top of my car facing me. Like, whoa, what is he doing? All right, so if you keep going and you keep focusing in on the programs and the beliefs that you have, then you're always going to have the same thing occur in your relationship. And you've got to get real with yourself and make those belief structures come out to the forefront so that you can go, oh, here I see this, here I see this, here I see this. Much like, I mean, the relationships that I have with my exes and stuff, good and bad pieces to both. Grateful that we can do little things like go trick-or-treating and everything together and not have massive blow-ups, and that we're all focused on what is best for children. But being human, here I am admitting, that, hey, I saw my own judgment rising up. I saw where my ego went. Let's take this moment and fuck it up. Let's take this moment and mess it up. Why was that there? If I get into the real analyzation of that, there's something inside of me still that believes that there must be conflict there must be drama, there must be conflict in a broken relationship, that there must be a bad guy, there must be a persecutor. And of course, that must be the other person, right? It couldn't actually be stemming from inside myself with my own judgmental thoughts and critical thinking. No, it must come from another source. But that persecutor, that bad guy, that we all tend to have rise up, and we can have it rise up even right there, on a beautiful romantic date. All of a sudden somebody can say something that triggers us and can cause us to go the other direction, right? And go, whoa, now I'm going to focus on the negative. In the owning that, hey, I just got triggered. Hey, I was the one who was receptive to that. I was the one who was looking for that. It's my program showing up here. They're just feeding into my program because my program is going, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And it's this underlying subconscious current of that. When we bring that into the focus point and we shine the light on it and we go, what the heck is this actually trying to do here? How is this serving me? How is this serving me? And you can say, well, how would it be to serve me to always have my relationships go boom? Right? I want a deep, intimate relationship. I want connection. I want love. I want a family. I want joy, happiness. I want the good sex. I want camaraderie. I want support. I want these things. I want romance. How is it serving to always have your relationships go boom? How is it serving to have drama rise up? How is it serving to have conflict? Well, if nothing else, it's serving you by making you right. By making you right. So that you go, you see, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. This is what always happens. I knew it. This happens. Right there, that is that prideful pat on the back that catches us and wrecks everything. The pride of, this is what always happens. I knew. I was confident in this. This is just how relationship is. When we look in that area, then we really quickly find out that what we're doing is we are really truly stepping away from what our desires are. And we're in that moving away, we are actually supporting our fears, but our fears serve us by making us right because they support the reality of the program that we have taught ourselves, that we have bought into. So I encourage you today to look at your intimate relationships and to ask yourself, how am I, really take responsibility here, how am I focusing on supporting the old programs, on really focusing in on the judgments and the criticism, and looking for the drama, looking for the persecutors, looking for the little hang-ups and the things to hold myself away from actually seeing somebody else, from actually allowing my soul to connect to them, and for myself to actually be revealed from a beautiful state of being instead of from the ego state of being. So, okay guys, I'm gonna go home and make some breakfast. I am hungry and my coffee is cold. So, local people, I have the Quantum Field Tantra coming up on November 10th. We are over 50% sold out on that class already, with 9 days left to go on registration. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to learn about Quantum Field Tantra, which is kind of my magic show area, you know, it's where I show people how they can have orgasmic energy move through them without ever touching somebody. It is taking Reiki to the next level, is taking quantum touch to the next level. It is a beautiful, beautiful process of really revealing how we can move energy through our body, and that the quantum field is real shit, and it really does really take on a beautiful orgasmic flow in our body. So if you are interested in participating in that workshop, this is going to be actually a certification class. It is a very economical class. I mean, I can't believe that I'm actually charging what I'm charging, because it's worth so much more. But I want to get this information out there because, you know, I think that a lot of the times we don't believe how powerful we really are, and we don't even understand what our beautiful human bodies can do and how we can tap into orgasmic energy. We just think orgasm, and we think of sex, we think of penetration, we think of, you know, ejaculation, we think of, that's what we think of climax, and that is like the tip of the freaking iceberg. There is so much more out there. We are so capable of experiencing true bliss, like touching the big toe of God bliss. And this workshop is definitely designed to get you right to that, to a deeper understanding of that, giving you the tools and walking you through exactly how to do that. So please click on the link if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or if you can get your butt here for that. This is going to be a small group event, of course, but I'm looking for people who really want to learn about how powerful their energy really can be and how they can impact their partners. You do not have to be partnered for this workshop, by the way. I know a lot of people are coming to me, yeah, do I have to have a partner? No, you do not. You do not. It is a PG-13 class rated for language. There is not going to be anything too risque going on. So yeah, and there is a link on my website at kendalwilliams.com if you are interested, that shows you kind of the video of exactly what Quantum Field Tantra is, so that you can kind of have an expectation as to what we're going to go and achieve. Let me see. Outside of that, I don't have a whole, I'm not going to even go into anything else. That's it. That's all you guys get this morning. That's it. I'm hungry. So I'm going home. I love you guys. As always, stop existing, start living. I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. Go out there and really call up your egos. Like, check in with them and say, hey, why am I supporting this crap in my relationships? Why am I leaning into exactly what I don't want to have happen? I really want you to really get real with yourself on this, because everything in our life is about relationship. We have a relationship with other human beings, no matter what that relationship is labeled. We got a relationship with our health, with our money, with, you know, with joy, with happiness, with our spirit, with God, with our work, with our dogs and cats. We have a relationship with every single thing. And if you can just target in on the piece that is your biggest teacher, which is your intimate relationship, if you can target in here and really gain attention as to what you're doing and how you're trying to crumble that relationship, you're going to gain insight on how you're crumbling your relationship in any area of your life that you are struggling in. So go do your homework. I love you guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.